Heyo, Raldan here, and you are tuned in to Let's Learn Hearthstone Arena Warlock Run. Games, hopefully 5 and 6. Wait, something wrong with that. Nope, this will probably be games 4 and 5. Yeah, that sounds more better. Here we go. We'll see what we got. We've had 3 games so far. You can catch them if you haven't already in the links in the description. This is the 4th game. I am running 2 and 1 so far. If you've seen the other videos, you've seen the cards in the deck. As Warlock decks go, I'm fairly pleased with the card selection here. It's going to vary a little bit depending upon how any given game goes, but you know, this is this is a very interesting situation. There is the potential here. I'm not going to keep the Soulfire, and I'm not going to keep the Twisting Nether for the start. But this whole Twilight Drake and then Faceless Manipulator thing, there is the potential for some ridiculous combo edge there. I mean, I could potentially just stall the game out for the Twilight Drake and then copy it the next turn. And as long as he doesn't have a way to kill the Drake or silence it, then I get basically 2 huge creatures on turn 5. The drawback for that is I just don't have the faith that that the Twilight Drake is played that early is going to make that combo work. So I'm gonna just go for what hopefully will be a little bit more of a consistent hand. However, I am going to kind of hold back a little bit here. I could coin out a Swamp Ooze, but honestly, I'm happy to wait until turn 3 to pop the coin, and try to get this whole Twilight Drake thing going as quickly as possible. Especially since my opponent is not really doing a whole lot. So we're just going, for the sake of just getting, you know, just a minor threat out on the table, we'll get the Swamp Ooze out, and then next turn we're going to coin into a Twilight Drake. An alternate plan, I could have drawn a card that turn instead and then gotten a slightly bigger Twilight Drake out, but yeah, so no real complaints there. This will give me a good opportunity to get a nice trade, because, I mean, I definitely would rather have it work out like that than the other way. So now I do have a couple options. I could just drop the Twilight Drake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, actually, it would be a 6/6 because the coin. I'd have to play the coin to make that happen. Alternately, I could drop the Acolyte of Pain, and then next turn have an even bigger. So actually, we're going to do that. Because the other thing is, if he does have a silence, which is the easiest way to deal with a Twilight Drake, he probably will silence the Acolyte of Pain. So this is kind of my test. If he's got a Spellbreaker or an Owl or something like that, then this would be the turn to use it. I mean, sometimes just rushing into things, I mean, it can be really tempting, but when you're dealing with some of these cards that are so incredibly situational, in terms of how effective they are, you sometimes just want to kind of take a step back and say, you know, hey, is this really what I want to do on this turn? And my answer is yes. I really do want to drop a gigantic Twilight Drake onto the table this turn. I mean, he's got a lot of cards in hand. I mean, he's a Druid. He probably will have lots of big things to start playing. I have some pretty decent stuff too, so I mean, I'm not overly worried. Okay, so we're just going to be beating him down, and dropping some. Yeah, let's drop some taunt. And in this case, I'm actually going to drop the bigger taunt guy because he can just kill this guy for free. But I coin out a Lord of the Arena, and now all of a sudden. He pretty much has to trade. Well, not actually, he can't even trade for it. He only gets to trade for it if he wants to like do a 2-for-1. I'm also protecting my Twilight Drake. Druids have tons of pump spells. He could have the +4 attack. He could have the... Well, mainly the +4 attack for this turn would be the thing that I'd be most afraid of. So this somewhat defends me against that. And there are a couple combinations of cards he could have that could be difficult to, or that could deal with this right now. But I mean, at 6 mana, there's precious few ways to do it all at once. The only real way I could think if he could do it would be if he had a naturalize, which is kill any creature for 1 mana, but then your opponent draws 2 cards. But again, if he had that, I would have expected him to have played it last turn instead of getting hit for 7. Because if that's your only answer to a Twilight Drake, then you're going to use it as soon as you can. You're not going to be like, hey, I wonder if he's going to hit me with that. Oh, he is hitting me with that. I should probably do something. Okay, so that pretty much confirms that, yeah, he doesn't have any, he doesn't really have any answers for anything. I am happy with that. That actually does make me quite happy. So yeah, what easiest thing for me to do right now, we're going to kill the mage with a Soulfire. We'll kill the Kodo with this guy, and then we'll hit him for another 7. And then we'll see what gets discarded, and we will probably end up drawing another card and see what we get. But so let's do this. So Soulfire, that was the one. That was probably the card I least wanted to have get taken out of the hand. But you know, what are you gonna do? Do that. I'm going to drop my summoning portal because it'll make these guys cost 1. Drop both of those, and now I can play this other Soulfire, and it doesn't even cost me anything because I don't have any cards in this card. And then I hit him. And now is where he basically needs to have a board sweep spell, which he doesn't have because he's a Druid. Yeah, I mean, like he'd be hard pressed if he was a mage right now, because I mean he'd still basically, I mean even a flame strike at this point. Yeah, so I figure. So that was a really good fast game. I mean you saw how the rushing worked there. Given the cards he had in hand, I mean it might have been possible for me to have accelerated that even faster if I had played the Twilight Drake sooner, but I mean, I stand behind the way that game played out. I mean, I think the last thing you want to do is throw away a game that you pretty much have in hand because you get too cocky about it. And Druid, that many cards in hand, it's not like Druids have bad spells. He just has lots of expensive spells, and he was at a point in the game where he just didn't have enough mana to get the cards out that he needed to get out to do something about what I was playing. He probably had like some Ironbark 8/8 taunt guys and stuff like that, but I mean they don't really do him any good if he never gets to the point where he can use them. Going first, I'm okay with this hand. I'm dropping the Faceless Manipulator simply because against rogues tend to be focused more on spells than they are on using lots of big creatures. I mean, it's a draft, anything goes. I mean, maybe they just drafted this really awesome creature, and you know, if so, I mean, of course they're going to play it. But I mean, more realistically, they probably they're probably just going to have small guys. So copy a minion is just not as exciting. And Coin Ringleader. I'll tell you right now, if I win this game, this is going to be a miracle because I really don't have a good... I mean, this is what makes this so stupid, is because it's their first turn. I've got actually what most people would consider to be pretty good turn 2 spells, and all that ends up happening is I play the Berserker, he trades the Bandit for it with his blade, hits me for 2, and then he's got his 1/1 weapon. And I mean, and that's with him trading. I play this, and it's even worse. He just trades his 2/1 bandit for it. Unfortunately, I'm kind of against the wall. I can't afford to take that much damage that quickly, so I pretty much just have to feed into his murder machine. But I mean, it's such a powerful early combination. It's just absolutely silly that it works like this. I mean, there's just not really a good reason for it. It's not like this guy isn't already probably the best 2-drop in the game. And I mean, I would still consider him to possibly be the best 2-drop in the game, even if. Okay, now that was just him making a mistake. I'm not going to complain about him making a mistake because I love it when people make mistakes against me, but that was a total mistake because he wasn't counting the enrage. If that's what he was planning on doing on the turn, he wasn't counting the enrage because he needed to attack while he was a 2 power instead of attacking afterwards. Honestly, we're going to be efficient with the mana, so I'm going to use this turn to sense some demons, and hopefully... Oh, that could either be the greatest or the worst thing ever. On the plus side, Doom Guards are awesome, and they have lots of health, which is really, really good against rogues. On the not-so-hot side, well, I mean, on the not-so-hot side, you have the slight problem that... man, all my good stuff is at 5 costs, and I only have 4 mana. This is such a sad, sad turn for me. Yep, preservation of mana. The dark side, the rogues have Assassinate, which is the catch-all answer for anything that you could possibly need to deal with. And by the time I'm on the turn that I can play a Doom Guard, they're on a turn where they can play Assassinate. So, I wonder if she's actually going to crash the... Okay, yeah, that makes way more sense. I was going to say I couldn't figure out what the plan of action there was. If only I had one more damage. Honestly, this turn I think I don't want him drawing any more cards, and so let's see. Let's get something better than a 1/3 Voidwalker. Oh man. That just takes the cake. I mean, I definitely I appreciate that it gives you something, but it's not supposed to give you the 1-cost demon every single time. I mean, just that's not how that card is supposed to work. Frustration. That was really confusing. I'm not complaining, though, because I finally get to kill his stupid thing and get something beefy on the table. So, but confusing. Only thing I can imagine is that his hand is stocked with like Assassinates and other murder cards, and he's just waiting for an opportunity to start going wild. On the bright side, I've got just enough life that I can drop a huge dude every turn for, well, the foreseeable future. If he does what I think he does and, like, assassinates my Infernal, like that, then next turn might be time to start... yeah, next turn definitely might be time to start getting the Doom Guards going. Because I can actually get a Doom Guard and a Swamp Ooze out, or a Doom Guard and a... does he really have that many more Murlocs? I mean, I would just find that hard to believe. Well, I don't want to take the chance that I discard both of my 2-cost characters, so I definitely want to get one of them out. At the moment, I want the Swamp Ooze, simply because the Swamp Ooze trades potentially with a... well, the Swamp Ooze is a little bit harder to kill, I guess I should say, because the Ironbeak guy just dies. So I wouldn't mind not discarding the other Doom Guard right now. Yeah. Now this is not going to say this is impossible, but this could be better. I mean, honestly, in this situation, what he probably should do is go after my life and just try to blitz me to death. Yeah, just like that. So I would like to draw Twisting Nether right now. Nuts. So this would be that point in the game where I drafted the Twisting Nether, because if I had the Twisting Nether, you can see for obvious reasons how effective that would be. Or, if I had my other, if I hadn't hit my other Doom Guard as the discard card, that also would be fairly effective. But, that's just not how it was meant to be. Let's see, what are the scariest things for me to try to deal with right now? Murloc War Leader. Without that, this guy is a hell of a lot weaker than he is. I could silence him. So that makes all the other Murlocs a lot less scary. Can trade off to kill him. Let's see. Let's go for killing. Killing him. And then we drop the Lord of the Arena, and then I hope that he doesn't have another. I mean, if his last card is is a sap or an assassinate or a silence, then it's game, and there's really not much else I could do about it.
Ready, sir. For the crusade!
Okay, so this potentially, I think I can survive this round. Barely? Yeah, I will barely survive this round. So, yeah, need to draw a Twisting Nether right now. It just does not want to give me... the irony is if I life tap, then... I have to life tap or I'm going to die next turn, pretty much for sure. But if I life tap and I draw Twisting Nether, I'm not going to be able to cast it. Okay, well that's actually good. I needed to get something along those lines. Let's see. I think I'm still dead though. Well, let's see. No, I'm not. If I need to kill his.
The pleasure is mine.
Yeah. But I mean, if honestly, like this game, it all really comes down to coin ringleader. I mean, I just can't even. I can't even think of a game where I've gone up against coin ringleader and not lost. I mean, I just think it doesn't matter. It's like it almost doesn't matter what class I am. It's like there's pretty much no class in the game that actually has a reasonable response. And I mean that's including the fact. I mean the guy completely misplayed that. I mean he should have still had his. I mean he should have still had one of his ringleader. I mean he just attacked in the wrong order. I mean that really was all there was to it. I'm gonna do one more. That first game was really short, so we can. I hate leaving off at 3 and 2 because then if I record another one of these, it could just be a one game thing. So if this is the end of the Warlock run, then we'll see it end right now. And if I win, then hope will continue. I am curious. I'm with the game, like what Blizzard's plans are. I mean, I can tell that they put a lot of effort into balancing things out. I mean, they're not all the way there yet, for sure. So I'm curious to see, what they're planning on doing about it. Again, as you've probably seen most games, I am ditching the really expensive cards. I'll inevitably draw them later, and what I really want is just to make sure I've got early game, which I now have. So good for that. So I'm going to go with the Berserker here, and that's because common thing Paladins do on the second turn. They have 2 mana. It's really not that bad. I mean, for them, they can just make a 1/1 character appear. I mean, a lot of times they just count upon doing that because, a lot of 1/1. So you see, he flat out he didn't do it because he knew if he had done it, then all he's doing is empowering my my Berserker rage. So now I'm in a situation where I can start really, like nailing the damage in on him. And Paladins don't have area effect spells until they get to 4 mana, and then they've got Consecration, which is 2 damage. Okay, I would love to draw my Acidic Blood Ooze thing right now. No. Okay. Well, sometimes you just don't get what you want. So I've got enough of an advantage right now that we're going to go ahead with trying to improve that advantage with some draw. I've got 2 options right now. I can Mortal Coil my own guy, which makes him a 5/3 attacker, or a 5/2 at that point. His weapon only does 1 damage, so that only really comes back to bite me if it works out that he has some sort of... he could have the 2/5 charge guy, which he would just then trade. That's actually looking to be right good. Honestly, the blood imp on the table right now isn't really going to help me much, but potentially getting 10 damage in on him at this early point in the game, especially with the potential for a Twilight Drake next turn, that will basically just keep the beats going. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Well, was going to do the Twilight Drake. I don't want to deal with a 3/4 Wind Fury character, though, because that just makes me sad. So we're going to be silencing him. And then I may get both Blood Imps out. Well, only drawback of that, again, Consecration. I don't want to set him up a really good board wipe on me. Okay, we're going to silence him. We'll hit him in the dome, and when you've got a little bit of a life lead, maintaining card advantage is not a bad idea. Also, I'm even at this point in the game, I still would be tickled pink to draw the stupid. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter now at this point with. Well, he's getting... Okay, so now is the point where I'm going to want to I'm just going to try to stall him and Twisting Nether in a couple turns. I don't really want to get into this game where he doesn't have enough damage on the table right now to be scary. I can throw some taunt and stuff out there and stall him pretty well, I think. So... whatever. I screwed that up. I really should have played the Blood Imp first. That was my bad. That was a blunder on my part. For some, I ended up spending so much time just thinking about how awesome it was going to be when I Twisting Nethered that I completely. Yeah, because this guy should have stayed as a that guy should have stayed on the table as a 3/3, and then, well, I guess that would have only saved me 1 point of damage. Okay, so Bane of Doom, another stall card. Let's see what we get, shall we? If I get another 1/3 Voidwalker, I think I'm gonna flip. Oh wow! Oh,
I am sorry. That was a mistake.
yeah, not really a mistake, but I mean, are you that? I just can't believe that I've done this 5 times, and that basically has been the every single time I do it. That's pretty much been what happens.
Pass me that arc light scanner.
Okay. So I need to get some stuff on the table. The nether might not even matter at this point with how ridiculous that's been going. But it's going to make me discard it.
Sure, send the little guy.
I swear, this has just been some sort of like psycho game of like every possible thing that everything that could be everything random that has happened in this game that could be a bad thing pretty much seems to have happened to this game.
Reporting for duty.
I don't have the 6 mana to make that work. Almost tempted to think I need to get the Doom Guard going, but I mean, this is really the last opportunity to have that Twilight Drake do anything useful.
Hey, give me a minute.
Though, on the bright side, the Doom Guard basically wipes his threat, and right now my life is by far the most important thing that I have.
Summon me. A paltry task.
Well, so far, I still feel, I mean, definitely made one mistake earlier this game with not keeping Repentance in mind and dropping my 1 health guy to begin with. Oh, man.
You love my new recipe.
I will give him credit. This is a fair... yeah, this is a fairly... he got a fairly good Paladin deck. I'm not sure what, if anything, I can do about it. I really would have needed the... yeah, I really would have needed the stupid Twisting Nether to not have gotten discarded last turn to stand any chance of surviving. Oh, got to get my taunt out because...
Hey, give me a minute.
So I mean, right now, really, if I have any chance of not losing this game, I need to draw a... I'm even trying to think of what I've got in the deck that would be an answer to that. I guess a Soulfire would do it. Actually, I take that back. Even a Soulfire wouldn't do it. Why did he hit? That made no sense.
Reporting for duty.
That was really confusing. Problem is, it doesn't really matter because he can kill me. I don't have taunt. I need to draw something, anything. Yeah, it's not going to do it.
Well played. Thank you. You win.
Well, that is the end of this Warlock draft. I had some hopes of having it go a little bit better than that, but 3-3. Again, frustrating part for me in this game is the sheer, just how just how much impact random things can have on the game. Like, I mean, you probably saw in this game. I mean, just the just how devastating the random card draw was, especially. I mean, just in all of these games, just how. I mean, I honestly that Bane of Doom spell. I mean, it's a purple card for a reason, and it's not because it does 2 damage for 5 mana. It the variability of what kind of demon you can get out of that spell is utterly absurd, because I've seen it like put down like 3/5 taunt creatures before off of it. I think you can even get one of those Doom Guards off of it, and it creates like a 5/7 charge, and like, or you get like a 1/1 or like a 1/3 taunt. I mean, I don't understand what Blizzard is thinking, or why, from a mechanical perspective, they think that those kinds of spells are good design in a game like this. I mean, you're already, it's a card game. You're playing a game that is based on randomness by nature. I mean, there's randomness in what you draw. There's randomness in like, you know, your opening hand, you know, that's why they give you things like mulligans and stuff like that. But I mean, you're already dealing with that. I mean, that's built into the game from the get-go. It's not like it's not like the way any game plays out is already determined. It's going to be different every single time, simply because of the cards played. You're going to have to adapt your strategy based upon what you draw. But like, I don't know, an element of randomness that's like stacked upon like already random stuff, that just like drives me bonkers. I mean, that's something that they used to have in Magic a long time ago, and they got rid of it for a good reason. If you go back to like very, very early Magic, you'd find a lot more instances of cards where it was like flip a coin, and then, you know, either something really good happened or something really bad happened, and they phased those out. And it wasn't because they were concerned that people wouldn't have a coin to flip. It was because it just wasn't interesting design for a strategic game to come down to coin flips. I mean, it doesn't even get any more blatant than that when you actually have a game where the actual determination of the winner can come down to a coin flip. I mean, why would anyone want to sit down and spend 10 to 15 minutes playing a strategy game that's decided by coin flip? No one wants that. Anyways, that's enough rambling about that. I'm hopeful that someone on the design team, I don't know, like just like tailors that in. I'm somewhat okay with a little bit of random chance, but I mean, I feel very strongly that they need to address just the variance. That's what kills me. It's not so much it's that, you know, it's like, what are, you know, it's like that, you know, maybe you don't know exactly what you're going to get, but it shouldn't be like you get anywhere from a 1 to a 5 mana guy. I mean, that to me just makes no sense. It's like, why is it that random? I mean, honestly, if the spell is intended to oftentimes be able to give you just like a 1 mana guy, why does it cost 5? I mean, why is it 5 for 2 damage? I mean, it kind of makes the spell stupid, but that's enough of that. We'll have to see what hero I get for Arena next. But yeah, I definitely plan on continuing this. I'd like to finish up the entire series and do all 9. So stay tuned and see you later.